Good evening, everyone. Communiqué IIT Kharagpur welcomes you all to this next session of our internship training week. I am Pradyumna and I'll be hosting this event along with my co-host Sneha. Today, we have an inspiring session lined up as we dive into the world of core profile internships, those of chemical, electrical, mechanical, and beyond. We aim to clear your doubts, share insights, and you guide you to land your dream core internship. We'll also have a Q&A session towards the end, so feel free to drop your questions in the chat.
It's an honor to introduce our panelists, three outstanding students who have bagged prestigious core internships at top firms. Our first panelist is Ms. Adrika Agarwal, who has secured an internship at Google Hardware. Adrika, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, hi. Nice to meet everyone. So, hi, I'm Adrika. I completed my third year at IIT Kharagpur last year, and currently I'm interning at Google Hardware. I'm looking forward to sharing my insights and answering any of the questions you might have. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Adrika. Our second panelist is Mr. Soumyadeep Roy, who has interned at JLR, Jaguar Land Rover. Soumyadeep, could you please introduce yourself?
Myself, Soumyadeep Roy. I have just completed my fourth year at IIT Kharagpur in the Department of Electrical Engineering as I was part of the dual degree specializing in integrated electronics. I am currently interning at Jaguar Land Rover in Bangalore and I am looking forward to sharing my preparation and my interview experiences with you. I think it will be of somewhat help when I share my experience.
Okay, thank you so much, Soumyadeep. And finally, we have Mr. Aditya Prakash, who has bagged an internship at Bajaj. Aditya, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Aditya Prakash. I just completed my fourth year here at IIT KGP and I'm a dual degree student in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, specializing in thermal and fluids engineering. And I'm doing my internship here at Pune in Bajaj. And thank you for inviting me and hoping to see good interview session.
Okay, thank you, Aditya. And congratulations once again to all our panelists for these incredible achievements.
Okay, let's get started with our discussion, Janta. So, now for the panelists, when did you decide to pursue a core profile? I mean, were there any other domains you considered before finalizing the core? And what was your mindset while exploring your options? Because many students often just reject the idea of core before getting to know what actually it is over there. So let's start with Adrika. Adrika, would you like to take this first?
Sure. All right. So I decided that I wanted to do core in second year when the core course actually started. And personally, I wanted to explore all of the domains before I finally chose a field. And that is something I would suggest everyone else to do as well. Because when you do an intern, it's a lot likely that you'll start working in the same domain. So this is something you'll be doing for, let's say, the next 20, 30 years of your life. So it's better if you just explore all of the domains and find out what attracts you the most and where you find yourself like, this is the fit for me. So for me, I was also exploring consult and consult I was exploring up till until my CDC. I had a few consult shortlists as well. And apart from that, I did do a bit of DSA, but I did not like it that much. That is why I left it. And honestly, when I decided that I wanted to do core was when I got into AGV and did a few similar projects related to it. And also during my second year, the second semester of second year, there's this course, digital electronics, I think. And I read like that is why I think I wanted ki, haan, like I want to do something similar to this domain and contribute in this field. So that is it from my side.
Soumidi, what's your perspective on this?
Actually, I mean, if I choose to speak on this topic, it will get a little more interesting. So, can I take around 5 to 6 minutes to speak on this?
Yeah, sure.
You all have it.
And could you all of you just turn on your cameras before answering? I think it'll really help the audience to get the conviction.
Okay,
Yeah, sure. I'll
but
just turn
just
my camera on in a few minutes
Yeah, yeah, sure.
because I'm currently not in a good network zone. So yeah.
That's fine.
yeah. So as for going into core, when I came into the first year, I chose electrical engineering willingly only. I didn't have any other option or any other choice to go into. Uh, only chose between EC and E, whichever I got during the junior allocation. In my mind, I had that I will go into core. But in my first year, during the sessions we have from different societies like KDAG and open source societies, there I learned about software and data. I tried doing that for not very seriously, but I tried doing that for around 2 to 3 months. Then I felt that I'm not getting that kind of I'm not getting into some kind of innovation which I want. So then from second year I determined that I will go into core. And my third semester was mostly exploring that what opportunities are there into core. I used to talk to a lot of research scholars who are there in our department and what projects, what are the current industry demands they're working on. And then in my fourth semester, I started going into real life projects under the professors in my department. So as far as uh, till the time I attempted the CDC internship program, CDC internship drive. Till that time, I had around two projects from my college and one from a different college, which I did as a research intern. So all of them were from my areas of interest only. I was mostly interested in the EV sector, in the renewable energy sector. So most of the projects were in those domains, and I did those just out of my interest only. Even one of my projects are still continuing. So core was just a fascination. I just wanted to go into core. I wanted to contribute to development of some real life project. There was not any kind of such means conviction or motivation that I will have to secure a core internship in the field which I want, but I just did it out of passion, out of enjoyment. So my going into core is about this story only. So there's no technicality which was involved when I decided to go into core.
Your perspective is like really gifted because you already know what your interest is. There are a lot of students who don't actually know what their interest is. So I'm really happy for you. Okay,
Yeah,
next, Aditya, would you like to answer?
When I joined the mechanical department, after my JOSA counseling, I liked the mechanical engineering as a subject, and I was happy that I was getting that. But when I came to my second year, I saw many of my friends from non-core. They were targeting software roles. My seniors also motivated me for software who actually got internship in CGC in different software roles. So I explored the domain of software. I mostly did the competitive programming in my second year, and I reached the rating of not great, but I think 1400 by the end of my second year. And but when I went for CDC, and my target was to get the internship in software domain only. So I just made a single CV for that. But I mean, at that, I think last to last, that CDC, that year CDC was, I mean, there was a lot of recession going on. And for the people who were from non-core, non-circuital, I would say, non-circuital departments, the situation was very bad for software roles. So I didn't get the shortlist in software companies. And later in my fifth year, in my fifth semester, I decided that I should continue with my whatever I used to like in my first year and everything. So I decided to go with mechanical engineering as a subject as a career. I wanted to go and explore the how the research being done in the domain of mechanical engineering, and also decided that I'll be converting into a dual degree. Uh, that this I decided in my fifth sem only, and after my third year was after my sixth semester. I just got my internship at Reliance Industries Limited at Jamnagar, where I did my 2 months internship, and I really liked the work culture there. I felt that the industrial mechanical work is actually awesome, and from then I felt that for me, being in a corporate world and working in the domain of mechanical engineering will be the best for me. And then in my this when I converted to dual degree, I again sat for CBC, and on day two I got Bajaj. So from there on, I mean, I got a lot of stability in the mechanical domain itself. And right now I'm exploring. I also did I also did 2 projects with my professor Rajaram Lakharaju, and that was in the domain of heat transfer, convective heat transfer. And yeah, I also went to the like I was also the member of Inter IT contingent where we won gold. Uh, and here at Bajaj, I'm enjoying the work culture and the project I'm handling. That is, I mean, that is awesome. I'm feeling like this is something which I wanted.
That's really great to hear from you. Okay.
Okay, this is actually a very common doubt. Can you walk us through the typical selection process for core internships? What round, test, or interviews did you go through? Soumyadeep, could you start us off?
Yeah, actually, uh, the perspective is different for dual and BTech students. The companies don't expect much from a BTech student because a BTech student has just completed his second year and is appearing for the internship. Now, as far as BTech students are concerned, CG is an important factor there. If you are having your CG above 8, then it's always an edge. If greater than that also, then you will also have a edge over others. They don't expect to have projects in your CV, but if you have, there's no harm. And but they mostly stick to basics. Like if I talk about not specifically about JLR, all the companies which came for core till JLR came, like Texas Instruments, Qualcomm. I'm talking about my domain, the analog digital computer architecture domains. Texas, Qualcomm, Google Hardware, and JLR and Bajaj. So most of the questions in the written interview are the written tests are focused on the basics only. For example, if I talk about the electrical part, they mostly focus on network analysis, signal systems, analog electronics, and digital electronics. All of them which are taught in our courses, but the fact is they give some tricky questions, and you need to know some uh, concepts or short tricks to solve them in a small amount of time. So for that, there are different sources which we can refer. They are already in the our seniors have already documented them in certain documents which are freely available everywhere. So in the written test, they mostly focus on basics. Some tests do have negative marking, but mostly they don't. And they also have an aptitude section, which includes mental ability, questions from mental ability, permutation combinations, all sorts of basic mathematics, profit and loss, which those questions can be referred from GATE previous year questions or some NTSC Olympiads, the stage 2 IQ which comes there. It almost matches the level. So the scoring part here is you don't know what will come in your technical part and means the core subject parts, but we always can predict that how what kind of aptitude questions can come because there's not much a change of pattern in that every year. So aptitude is a very scoring part, and you have to maximize your scores in that written test. Because mostly the selection depends on your performance in the written test only, and there's a lot of competition. Like if I talk about Texas Instruments, we had 20, it was a test of 20 marks in the technical part. Even students getting 18 or 19 didn't get shortlisted because so many people got 20 out of 20. So that was, I mean, it is a really competitive one. And specifically for JLR, if I talk, JLR comprises of a huge syllabus because they are mostly oriented towards the electrical engineering department and less aligned to the AC department. So there are a lot of courses which are common to both of us, both the departments, like analog, digital, control system, signal system. But there are parts of power electronics and machines which come from the electrical department, and these are only asked who apply in the EV sector. There are four profiles for JLR. The first one is EV parts and hardware. The next is EV parts and software. Then it's electronic hardware design. The fourth is normal software as SDLs. So in the two profiles which I mentioned about EV, they ask questions mostly from the courses taught in the electrical department. You need to be thorough with the basics. Basics means I strongly stress on the word basics, because even there are certain concepts which are taught in the first class of a course or in first 3 or 4 lectures of an online course related to that subject, which we students generally don't consider to be important. But they somehow frame some tricky questions from those areas. So written test is really competitive. Means while preparing, I would suggest that the preparations should start from around end of April, and then we can get a lot amount of time, and someone has to be regular with the preparation. So with respect to that, the written tests are very complicated, are very not very complicated, are very competitive. The questions are always from the basics, but within that short period of time, it may happen that those basic questions are also not clicking, and that happens due to lack of practice. So this is all about the written test. And about the interview process, like if I consider my personal interview experience, and again, I would always suggest students to to the juniors who are attending this session, keep your CG high. Above 8 is a safe bar, because I have faced this CG barrier throughout my college life. And somehow, some or the other reason, my CG got compromised every semester, yeah, alternate semesters. So I had a CGPA which was less than 8 during my CBSE internship. But the plus point was, as I was a dual student, I had a lot of ample time to build my CV. Like in December, in the fourth semester, I started off with an EV project, which I ended towards the end of fifth semester. So that project continued about 1 year. Then, while I was in the second phase of this project, I took up another project in the ATDC department, which was on vibration energy harvesting. So that is because one part of that was completed before my CDC intern. The second part is still going on. And between for dual students, I would suggest please during the summer vacation which you are getting between third year and fourth year, you don't have a compulsory internship there, but try to do some internship in your field, because that will be taken seriously during your interview, if not during your written test shortlisting. So do some internship in your field wherever it might be. Means you don't have to look for any kind of fancy internship that you have to go to foreign or something like that, because during our years we had a blunder in my tax, because there was some political problems going on within the country. So in that case, since I took up an internship at IIT Bombay, which was co-supervised by a professor from IIT Bombay, and another was his co-worker who was then a professor at Texas University. So that was also in the EV sector. Now, these were the three projects I had on my CV. And during the interview process, I was first asked about this summer intern only, because that was a new technology in the EV battery charging domain. So my interviewer was quite fascinated by reading that project, and he actually wanted to judge me on that how far, how deep I got into that. So my 45 or 50 minutes of my interview was based on that only. I was asked on those, how did I do the project, how did I approach the circuit, how did I understand it, what future improvements can I do on that. So whatever you are writing on your CV, be thorough with that, and have good knowledge of that, because you will be grilled upon that. Because you never know how much knowledge your interviewer has on that particular topic, on that particular domain's project. So in that case, if he is knowledgeable on that, if he understands that well, then he will obviously go very deep into not just what you have done, but what could have been done, which you didn't get the time, or it's your future prospect. So after that, I had my interview around 1 hour and 15 minutes. So the next was another part of the technical round only. I was asked basic questions on power electronics, uh, signal systems. One question from analog, which was basic, based on differential amplifier. Means any standard book on analog refers to those parts. And then I was asked various twisted questions on RC circuits. RC circuits are very important. RLC circuits mostly, not RC. These network analysis is very important because all of the companies focus on this part. And then we had a short HR round, and the interview was over for that. So that's all.
Okay, thank you so much, Soumya. Now, Adrika, would you like to add anything? Like, how was your selection process?
Somebody pretty much covered it all. I would like to differ a little bit with the Google selection process. So Google's test was a 30 marks and it had four sections. Out of which one section was entirely based on coding. And in the interview round also Google expects that you know some level of coding, right? Because Google is primarily a software-based company. So for if you're particularly targeting Google hardware, you need to know basics of DX, not very deep, just basic. And I think the PDF course also covers the basic to a huge extent. So if you could just revise that, that would also cover it. And apart from that, uh, Google's test was kind of difficult, not very basic question from digital and analog electronics, but it is mostly doable. And because the test for these four companies, Google, Texas, Nvidia, and Qualcomm, I think Qualcomm for us came on the week after day one, day two. But the rest of these three companies happen in the first week itself. So there's a lot of competition for these three companies because all of the EC electrical people target these. So the cutoff also is very high. For Google, I think it was almost 28, 29 or 30. Only those people had gotten shortlisted. So that was it. And for NVIDIA, computer architecture is really important. Like they have they have some questions from computer architects. And also, if you want to crack NVIDIA's test round, you should definitely do the p-values. I think they would be available on the internet as well as on the blogs written by our seniors. So there's a drive link. If you don't have it, you can message me on LinkedIn. I'll share it to you. And it has the previous year questions of NVIDIA. So NVIDIA's questions usually repeat. And apart from that, Texas, the aptitude part, as Somadeep suggested, it's really important. And one other resource that I might suggest with aptitude was Geek for Geeks. So that is it. And now moving on to the interview round, I had only given the interview for Google hardware. So for that, there were two rounds. And you know, Google, once you get past the test round, the questions they ask in the interview, they test your fundamentals, like how in depth knowledge you have of the subject. So for Google hardware, as I said, I had two rounds, and in both of the rounds, I was asked four questions. Now, this differs from person to person. Some of my batches had been asked like up to 10 questions as well. But for me, it was just four questions. And in each question, they had asked some certain fundamental subparts to it. So I would tell some of the questions so that you also have an idea. So in each of the interviews, they had asked a coding question, very simple, basic coding question. I think you might have done it in DSA or in PDS course also. Like the question that they had asked me in my first interview was regarding the standard bracket question. Like there's a string of brackets and you have to figure out if it's open or not or which type of bracket it's open. So just that. And apart from that, there were also questions based on Verilog. Now, Verilog is very important if you're targeting a digital profile. And by very important, I mean that you should know the basics of Verilog. Like, for example, I hope that all of you, like, if you're targeting digital profile, you would have done some amount of Verilog till now. So there's something very basic called non-blocking and blocking statement. So my interviewer gave me an example, and he asked me that what would be different if we used non-block blocking statements instead of non-blocking or something like that. And similar such in-depth question, like even though like non-blog and blogging statement have difference when you're writing a counter or something, but they need not be that much important in all of the code. So in Verilog, they ask very fundamental questions. Like they'll check your fundamental understanding of it. And apart from that, they do ask you that in Google specifically, that which is your favorite, like which type of questions would you prefer from digital or analog. So you have an option to choose there. So I had chosen digital. So that asked me to draw a few question of like a few diagrams of like up down counter, and they had also asked me to draw a circuit for some mathematical equation that they have given. So the Google interview is very much like a pen and paper based interview. They ask you to keep a notebook nearby, and they also have a Google sheet opened on the meeting link. And there they type in the question or give you a diagram, and you have to like draw it sometimes or solve it sometimes and show it to them that, this is what I've done. So they pretty much test your fundamental skills in Google interview. So that is pretty much it because these are the three tests I've given. And apart from that, Somadeep had covered it all. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Adrika. That was very insightful. Now, Aditya, how was your experience? Different or similar?
Yeah, so I'll start with like Bajaj came at Bajaj was the first mechanical based company which came on day two, and for Bajaj there was an online round, and that round has two parts. First one was completely mechanical questions like whatever we have studied in our curriculum, based on like the chapters like mechanics of solids, thermodynamics, fluid dynamics, kinematics of machines, and something like machine tools and machining, manufacturing processes. So all these things were there, and the difficulty level was mostly to that of gate level. So if you are good with gate problems, then you will be able to handle every questions comfortably. Also, there are some chapters like manufacturing processes where you need to uh, learn the stuffs. So that is, I think, which is important. And when you go for aptitude-based questions, so they will be like you can prepare from some any website. Uh, so this was like if you are good with gate problems. So in my preparation, I mostly prepared with previous or gate questions, and I revised my curriculum which I studied. Also watched some like one short video gate lectures, so that helped me a lot. And coming to the interview, so there were some 25 to 30 people shortlisted, but not from mechanical only, from mechanical, electrical, metallurgy, and these departments. Uh, so there were two rounds in the interview. First one was technical round. Second one was the HR round. In the technical round, they checked me on my CV. So whatever I have written on my CV, they went on every point and they kept asking different questions on that. Also, they gave me two questions. First question was related to the thermodynamics and fluid dynamics mixed question. So that was a piston cylinder based question with some variation, where I was expected to give the pick the qualitative graph. They showed me different graphs. I was to select the graph and tell them the reason why it is behaving in that way. Second one was related to mechanics of solid questions. So that was again you have to sit with pen and paper, and you have to solve in front of them. That round lasted for I think 25 minutes. In the technical round, if you are able to for Bajaj, I'm saying if you are able to defend your CV nicely, if you are able to convey the message that you are someone who is uh, uh, who is targeting his entire professional life for the mechanical industrial domain only. And if you are good with the mechanical engineering subjects, then definitely you will be able to get good with your technical round. Uh, After technical round, there was an HR round which lasted for 20 minutes. Although it was an HR round, but that guy also grilled me on my CV. And firstly, so he started asking some like I added one of my project which I did in mechatronics. Like mechatronics is one of my course compulsory course that mechanical engineering guys do. So I had that course project in my CV, and that was using some sensors like passive infrared sensors. So he grilled me on that also, and from there some discussions regarding basic electronic stuff started happening, and he also asked me like to explain basic things like whatever we read in our basic electronics. So that was again you have to be with pen and paper. And he also asked some thermodynamics question, although it was an HR round. And lastly, in 10 minutes, he somewhat asked me like typical HR questions like what are your strengths, weakness, why do you want to join Bajaj? Gave me some case like uh, different cases like you have to like typical HR questions. And after that, these two rounds got over. So and finally got selected. But when you go for for example, if you are shortlisted for JLR, in JLR also like in the online round, the questions are mostly like if you are good with mechanical engineering subjects, then it's fine. You can manage well. But the important thing is that if you're in JLR, if you want to get JLR, there are some experiences that must be there. Like you must be having some experience in automotives. If you are having team card, then it's very good. If not having done, you must be having some internships like in Tata Motors or any automotive space company. It is actually beneficial, but like it is seen that guys having these kind of experiences are good for like JLR wants them to hire. So for JLR also, like I have asked my friends, they also had two rounds, but their rounds was went on for 1.5 hours, 2 hours, and they also grilled on CV, but they were mostly fixed on the point that they want someone who is good in automotives, maybe someone on powertrain, on engine systems, or something like that. So yeah, many like different kind of companies come. So JLR is not that much biased with CGPA, but if you are good with automotive four-wheelers, then definitely have good chances there. I also got shortlist in my like when I was BTech guy, I got shortlist in Tata Steel. So there also like online on was same. If you are good with mechanical engineering gate questions, then you will be able to manage that online round. After that, there was single round where like the three-member panel were there, two technical guys and one HR. So that went on. But again, that was in my second year, so I didn't get selected in Tata Steel. In Bajaj, in my dual degree internship, I got offered it. Yeah, so that was the experience.
You
Okay,
know,
thank you so much.
I have a follow-up question to this. This is a really interesting one because in a HR round, you would expect them to ask something about yourself, right? In they're
Yeah.
asking about your core, what you have done exactly. So is it the same experience with Adrika and
No,
Soumyadeep also, or like is it for everyone? Like, does it happen often?
I have a bad experience at HR. Like after my 1 hour technical interview was done, my the HR who was present in that interview panel, after he asked me that looking at your CV, I felt that you are from the software domain, so why did you apply here? This was my HR round, and I kept
no,
quiet for 10 minutes in the interview.
I would like to add, I would like to say that HR is a guy who wants to see some weaknesses in your CV. And if he will find that you are weak on that point, then he will definitely grill you on that. I had some, like I added the project, but I think I was not able to explain one of the point. So there he found that this guy is somewhat weak in electronics domain, although I was a mechanical guy, but he still grilled on that. He wants to see how much you can handle. So that was an HR round, but the guy who was taking the HR round, I think he was I met him at Bajaj. He was actually working in the engine design system, so he was also a mechanical engineer. Also did his management. So maybe due to that, but typically HR rounds are not like you will ask technical question. But the thing is, if they will find something that you are not good with or you are weak on that, they will grill you on that.
Adrika, what about you?
So I had a different experience. Yeah, I had a different experience with respect to this. So I had no HR rounds in Google, and previously I've given interviews with companies that have had HR rounds. Like as I said, I wanted to consult and like finance also. So I'd given an interview of Nomura, and they had a very strict HR. But particularly for Google, if my I may say, I don't think Google is a company which believes in the HR round, because I was very tensed after my interview because they didn't take HR round, and most of the companies do take HR round. So I went to there was a person from Google who they had sent for the interview to manage the interview, and I asked her, ki, am I selected for the next round, because I didn't go through any HR, and she's like, ki, Google mostly does not take HR round. So I did not have any sort of CV grilling or any HR on. It was basically just technical and fundamental checks that they were doing of how much in-depth knowledge I have about my subject. So that is it. But I do believe that most of the other companies do have a very strict HR round. And if you're writing something on your CV, be thorough with it, like from top to bottom. So yeah.
Okay. Yes. Let's move on to this third question. Obviously, like CGPA will matter in your core placements. So, for students who are pursuing core, what would you, each of you, keep the range of CGPA for sitting in internships? And also, in addition to this, what was your relationship with your professors like? In how did they help in your CDC? I mean, did they help in your CDC, your projects, or anywhere else? So that is one important thing I would like to ask about. So Aditya, would you like to answer?
Yeah, definitely. So you asked that CGPA is important or not. I was an 8.62 when I was sitting for Bajaj, and I think like for Bajaj, companies like Bajaj, it is like if you are having good CGPA, it definitely matters. But but when you will go for different companies, for example, if you'll go for GLR, for the mechatronics, for the mechanical domain, when they were hiring, the three students got selected. They were from team card. They were very good students, but more inclined towards mechanical engineering, practical mechanical engineering stuffs. They were team card guys, but their CGPA was not they were below 8, but they still got shortlisted and finally got the offers. So it depends on the company. Like if definitely if you are 8 plus, then you should say that. You are in a good position. If you're 8.5 plus, then definitely no need to worry. But if you're 9 plus, then for core mechanical, I'm saying if you're 9 plus, then you need to defend that, because there is a perception that if you're a 9 plus, then you might be going for PhD or might be going for masters. So you need to defend that because generally company do ask this. So if you are 8.5 plus, then very good. 8 plus is also, I mean, no need to worry on that. Now, coming to professors, my professor mostly does the work on, does his research in the domain of pure science related pure science related stuff only, like mechanical engineering, but mostly like physics behind the problems. So I did the project. Those projects, I feel that the interviewer in the technical round, he was like he found it good, and I presented the project in such a way that it was looking like yeah, this is something which can be implemented in the industry, although it was an academic project. But the way in which you present your stuffs, I think that matters a lot. So also, like if you are doing your project under a professor who does most of his work in the industrial domain, his research statements are from directly from industry, then in that case you must it is like the professor is having good relation with one of the good industry, and if you are working well with the professor, if the professor is happy with you, then you can ask him to for a referral or something like that, uh, so that you can do your internship in the company which is linked with. So in our department, mechanical engineering department, there are few professors who directly works on some industrial projects, like projects. Some professors are, I think, Mr. Anandarup Bhattacharya, SK Pal. These professors do their work mostly in the industrial domain. So that's also you should keep in your mind. Yeah.
Okay. Adrika, what's your take on this?
I believe that CG is kind of important. At least I'll just stay company wise. Media, they actually look at very high CG people, Like at least in my experience, all of the people that they've selected have a CG above 8.5. And if you have a CG above 9, it'll be like amazing. And for Google hardware, also a CG above 8 is sufficient, 8 or 8.5. And the CG, I think, matters up till you get shortlisted after like the test. And from there onwards for Google, I don't think anything else matters apart from them, apart from how well you're able to like answer their questions. And that is it for Google. And for Texas also, I think Texas also checks your fundamental knowledge in the project and how much interest you have in your subject. They don't look at CG to that extent also. But for NVIDIA and Google, a CG above 8, and especially for NVIDIA, a CG above 8.5 and 9 is highly recommended. But saying that, even if you don't have a very high CG, I don't think you should lose hope. So companies like Google, Texas, even Qualcomm, they check your technical knowledge and your fundamentals more than the CG after you clear your technical round and enter the interview round. And also one disclaimer for NVIDIA, the CG cutoff to apply is 8. And for Google, it's 0. And for Texas, I think it's 6. And Qualcomm also, I don't think it has any CGP criteria. So yeah, that is pretty much it.
Samideep, do you have anything to add?
Actually, I got associated with professors since my fourth semester. So the professors, as far as helping during CDC is concerned, I work with professors who are mostly into industrial domains, as Aditya Prakash mentioned. Even he mentioned about Professor Anandaru Bhattacharya. He was also a co-investigator of a project which I was working on under Professor Dipankar Devnath. So they mostly give you this backing that if you don't get into any kind of internship or if you don't get selected through the CDC process, they have their own contacts or they have their own sources from where they can sort your things out. You have that kind of backing if you have known professors from different departments, from different domains of your interest for a long time. They have that kind of trust in you that they can recommend you somewhere. But apart from that, means professors don't get to help a lot during the series internship, and I feel that they don't have a role much in helping during the series internship. So nothing notable to be mentioned about here. But yeah, during my projects when I used to means when I used to work under some prof, or even when I am since working under some professors, they provide you with a lot of support, with a lot of backing. That they provide you with a good platform that you have ample time to learn, make mistakes, and then learn. So that environment is good at KCP.
Okay. Um, I had a follow-up question for this. Like there are some societies that are related to your particular department at Kharagpur, right? So being a member of those societies, do you think you might have an edge over others during CDC or not? Let's say not CDC, you're going off campus and you get a referral somewhere else. Is there a chances? And have you seen other students bag their internships or any other placements by the referrals of societies? Anyone who would like to answer?
Yes,
Uh,
yeah. If I talk about the core domain, like Aditya mentioned in the last question that he was talking about Team Card, right? So Team Card has a good contacts all over the automotive industry. So I was never into Team Card, but I had a lot of friends who are into Team Card, and I have two of them interning at JLR only. So yeah, they have a edge, but anyone who is not into the society can match up with that by upskilling themselves or working on some real life projects through some other sources. So in that case, mostly into the core profile, I don't think that societies have a lot of role. But yeah, obviously in case of the other domains, data or software, yeah, society has a good role as far as I've heard from my friends during my seniors. So
Yeah, Aditya, you were also saying something.
yeah, so I was saying same about team cards. Like if you are the students who are currently in first years and second years, and they are feeling like mechanical engineering can be can prove better for me, then they should definitely try for getting into team card because like I just said that my friends of mechanical engineering department who got into JLR, they are outstanding people uh, when it comes to something like automotives and four-wheelers. Someone is good with chassis, someone is good with engine systems. Then uh, Team Card is actually a great place, and when you're in Team Card, it is said that JLR actually is biased towards Team Card. It is seen in that way. But if let's say you talked about can they give you referrals? So if someone is in like our alumni who were in team card, maybe they can help you later to get into JLR. Like let's say they are in JLR, they can help you in getting there, but don't have much hopes in that way. Like I have not seen any of my friends got into since because their alumni were in that particular society, they help them. Definitely, they will try to help, but that's not. It is not that common.
Okay. That's very helpful. Now,
Okay, now carrying on with the preparation strategy. Core profile often requires strong technical knowledge. How did you prepare for fundamental subjects or any other core subjects? Adrika, please share your preparation strategy.
Yeah, all right. So my preference, okay, I'm a BTech student, right? So firstly, for the companies or the roles that are open for me are mainly analog and digital electronics. If you're someone who is a dual degree student, I think more courses, more roles like digital signal processing and embedded software, all of these roles will also be open for you. DSP is something which is not taught in the second year. That is why it is hard for second year people to get into those, but still I had a friend who was a BTech student who got into system profile of Texas Instrument, but it is still rare. However, if you're really interested, you can prepare for that. So my preference out of these two were digital electronics. For that, I blindly followed my bottom side done his slides for some 2, 3 times there, revised it thoroughly. I knew every topic and every topic in depth. Suppose I wanted to, I wanted to go into depth of some topic which is not provided in slides. I would, research about it through the internet, through other videos available on the YouTube. So this was one thing that was very important for my digital profile. And apart from that, there are dialogue lectures. So the Verilog lectures are present on through NPTEL only on YouTube as well. So those are pretty important. Even if you do up till week 6 or week 7, um, uh, it is like sufficient for most of the profiles, most of the interviews for the core company. So Verilog and digital basics are very important. And apart from that, one more very important topic is static timing analysis. It is really important. A lot of companies stress a lot about this, and in fact if you actually get into like one of the core companies, there are complete teams which just like focus on this particular thing like STL. So it is very important. And Google also, like if you get an interviewer who suppose in like physical design team or design verification team, he'll ask a lot of question about static timing analysis. For that, there are videos on YouTube present. Also, there was this one site. If I don't exactly have the slide, I'll like try to find it and drop it down in the chat box after I'm done, so you guys can go through that as well. And to practice Verilog, if you guys already do not know, there is a site called Bit. It is very good for practicing, so do go through that, and it also does not take a lot of time. So, and apart from this, computer architecture, like basics of computer architecture is very important. And also, there were a few other pamphlets that were shared to us before our interview, like before the test. And if you're like seriously targeting these tests, text me once on LinkedIn. I'll share the pamphlet with you. One last topic was understanding the basic working of 8051 microcontroller. So if you go through that, sometimes the interviewer might ask you questions regarding that also. So that is pretty much it for digital electronics. So the timeline for me for this was I had started as soon as our summer vacation had started. So I started revising digital electronics because uh, the second semester of second year course also has TEC. So I was pretty much, I pretty much remembered all of the things. So I just had to revise it once. So I had done the complete revision of TEC, the slides once in like the first 10, 15 days. And also I really wanted to like complete learning Verilog. So that also I finished in like the first 10 days, and then I started practicing on HDL bits because HDL bits was just a practice. I used to do it like for 30 minutes to 1 hour every day, and it got completed in like around 1 month or something. So that was pretty much it. And the whole preparation for my digital electronics got completed in the first 1 month and 1.5 months of summer vacations. And then I started focusing on analog electronics. So for analog electronics, I mostly followed Razavi. Now, analog, I believe, is, you really require the basic and fundamental understanding of the topics in analog. So for that, I highly suggest that like Razavi is the best book for you. So do go through that, all of the chapters, like the main chapters, even like most of the questions asked in interviews are from analog domain are mostly based on whatever coursework we have learned in like second year. So those are the topics you need to revise and focus upon. I'm saying that I did not like get that much time to prepare for my analog domain, so I had just done Razavi, and then the CV portal had started. So as soon as the CV portal started, I had started revising DEC, like the complete DEC. I had made short notes for that as well as like analog electronics. And apart from that, I started revising or doing aptitude questions towards the end because some of the companies really look at that as well. And also a basic of like coding questions like C++ and C. Like I just went through the basic fundamentals of that as well. So yeah, that is pretty much it. And apart from that, I will drop down some of the resources in the chat. So if you want to go through that, just go through those as well. Those are mostly related to STA, a few books related to computer architecture, and a few practice questions related to digital electronics because usually you don't get those that often. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Agrita. Thank you so much. Somnadi, how did you tackle the subjects, your four subjects?
Yeah, so if I talk about the preparation process, I mostly started my preparation honestly from the month of March, okay, because I knew that I was going for an intern at IT Bombay, so I will not get much of time in the first half of my day for around 2 months or 2.5 months. So for that, I decided to start off in March, early March. So the process was I was mostly preparing for Texas Instruments, Qualcomm, Google hardware I kept as an option because I knew that I had a low CG at that point of time, so I had less chances of getting shortlisted at Google hardware. So I was mostly preparing for Bajaj, Texas Instruments, JLR, Qualcomm, and for dual degree we also have analog devices and Intel coming in later in the month of September or October. So for that, I was pretty proficient with analog electronics, network analysis, control systems, signal systems, all these courses. But I was weak in digital electronics, Verilog and computer architecture, these sorts of stuff. So I decided that as March was a bit of 3 months for us because just the mid-sems end and you don't have much of class tests or that sort of activities during the March. So I referred to the lectures of Professor Gautam Saha from EC department of art who has his lectures of around 60 or 62 lectures in digital electronics in the NPTEL. Those are available freely in YouTube. I used to watch around 2 or 3 lectures a day. You can watch them in 1.5x also because he speaks very slowly and he's quite relaxed with his teaching. So you we can watch that at 1.5x and so 3 lectures a day. So it took me around 20 to 25 days to complete all the lectures. Now, as I was done with my lectures, we had a few CDC resources which was shared to us by our previous batches. As this goes on, we also have certain resources available in the student welfare group app. One is available there. So the questions were referred mostly from there. Gate QIQs, both EC and EE, because digital electronics is not a popular topic asked in GATE electrical engineering. So mostly in digital electronics, I would like to tell all of you to focus on Karnaugh maps. For network analysis, I would suggest that don't prepare anything. Mm, Means there's no hard and fast rule to prepare for network analysis for RC circuits, RLC circuits. So in that case, I would suggest that there's a channel called Champion which a guy there teaches how to solve networks in R, RLC, op-amp networks using transfer functions, using Laplace transform, using pole zero analysis and all that. So those things are quite kind of helpful in interviews as well, because as far as I told about my JLR interview, I was asked a question about RC circuits, which was quite complex. But within short period of time, I could solve that because of my understanding in frequency domain analysis of RC circuits. So that's a good source for even practicing also. While you are studying the lectures from ChemBNT, you can parallelly practice them on hand, pause the lecture, practice the question, and then see that what's the difference in the approach which he is showing and which you have taken. So that will help you to improve your approaches in towards the complex problems in network analysis. Now, if I come to analog electronics, sticking to Razavi will be the safer option. The first part of Razavi, that red book which we are taught in our courses, that book is sufficient. Mostly the people ignore BJT chapters, but there are a lot of questions which are asked from BJT in Bajaj, JLR, and TI as well. There's nothing asked from two-stage op-amp or differential mirror with differential amplifier with current mirror load, because those are parts of VLSI, not properly, they are not parts of basic analog electronics. They may be asked in your interview, but that also based on your experience or whether you have any kind of experience in that in VLSI or not. But mostly focusing till analysis of feedback systems, MOSFET amplifiers, um, basic analog like detecting in which region that particular semiconductor device is operating. These all are the basic things in analog electronics. And yeah, op-amp as a black box is asked. There's not much details. They go inside the op-amp. They will connect the op-amp in some topology, and they will ask the V out by V in gain expression, the frequency, cutoff frequency, all sorts of those questions. But those are also available in the Champion-T lectures. And for solving complex problems in analog electronics, you can always refer to the channel by Himanshu Agarwal. He was a student of Kharagpur Engineering College. He had a good rank in GATE. Also, he was an ex-CI employee. So those lectures are very useful. I used to refer to those. I am just talking about the materials I used to refer. Now, for power electronics, is mostly needed for Bajaj and JLR only. No other companies ask about power electronics. So for power electronics, I would suggest either you stick to Ned Mohan book, the basic power electronics book by Ned Mohan, or even someone from the electrical engineering who have done a course in power electronics. They can refer to the course materials only. Nothing much or nothing fancy is asked apart from that. And for control systems, I would suggest that for control system, again, the coursework is sufficient. Uh, it is basically concentrated on finding out transfer functions, poles, zeros, Bode plots. There's not much asked from the Nyquist plot part. And third, they ask also from the second order systems, the different conditions of damping, the different conditions of over damping, under damping, and critically damping conditions. These questions are pretty common from control systems. And for signal systems, I would suggest strictly stick to the Oppenheim book. signals and systems, that's sufficient. If you follow that, then it's sufficient for CVC interns. Now, the most important part is most of the students, they watch lectures, they watch the approaches, try to remember it, but they don't go into any hands-on practice. That's the biggest fault interns do, biggest mistake interns do during the preparation phase. But you have to take it as your JEE preparation because you already got the time less, you have already got less time. We all know that only 30% of the stats say that only 30% of the KGP entire population of that particular batch goes into gets a internship through the CDP process. That too, you are going to sit in core where you have only, if I talk about max to max 7 companies for dual degrees, and for BTECs you have max 4 to 5 companies, and you have a lot of competition in that. Considering the CGPA factors, someone may be from society, someone may have extraordinary projects, research papers in their CV. So you don't need to worry about that, but you need to focus on the process. You must know that this is the level of your competition. Now, keeping that in mind, you have to give that much effort that now this is what I have, this is what is my capacity, and I have to give the best out of it. So for that, hands-on practice is very important. Whatever lectures you are watching, whatever lectures you are referring for studying, whatever materials you are using for practicing to study problems, just write them down. Writing helps a lot because in the CDC exam, you have to solve the problems in a very short time. Like we had only 45 minutes even for the CI exam, which had around 30 questions. So in that case, writing is a very important thing, and just trust the process which you are doing through the CDC preparation. Because even if you don't get into any kind of internship through the CDC, it will some way or the other help you in future. You will bag somewhere else. There also they will. The process is the same that they take a written test and then an interview follows. But the knowledge required, the level of understanding you need to match is the same everywhere only, right? So even if you go into some other way to secure an internship, maybe through off-campus applications, reference, or cold mail. So for that also you have to go through that rigorous process. So there's no harm in preparing for CDC seriously. So you will always benefit from the process. So I would suggest that irrespective of what would happen in future, yeah, I know that being second year students, being just passing out from third year, students have a lot of stress. I have experienced that. I have seen my friends experience that. But trust me that this is also a small part of your college life, which is going to matter to a bit, but that doesn't matter that you go through CDC or through some other channel, but the process is the same. You have to go through that rigorous training, that rigorous preparation to crack any kind of internship. So I would suggest that take CDC seriously, prepare seriously, whatever you are doing, and I would suggest to give at least 1 or 1.5 hours per day to CDC preparation. It's easy, pretty easy to do. Even including weekends, I would tell you that give 1 or 1.5 hours per day to CDC preparation. It's enough. Just do that seriously. Follow the process. Don't go into much of fancy things. Stick to your basics because CDC during the internship process, they don't expect a lot of uh, fancy understanding from the students. They only expect the base. They are strong in their basics. They can apply to those basics to build complex systems. This is what's the mindset of core CDC companies. So I would suggest that trust the process, prepare well, give be regular with your preparation, and most importantly, focus on hands-on. That's all how I prepared for CDC.
Okay, thank you so much, Saumidi, for these valuable insights. Now we'll move on to the next question.
Okay. Um, could you, like each one of you, give your timeline of when you actually started this preparation for CDC? Because most of us are confused when that particular CDC time actually happens, and when should you actually prepare, and when should you focus and put your head down. So, Adrika, would you like to, sorry, Aditya, would you like to start?
Yeah, definitely. So first I'll say like we do not have much companies in mechanical core when we are looking at CDC internship process. So if you are having like, if you see two major companies, they are JLR and Bajaj. The common between them is that you have to be very good with your fundamentals of mechanical engineering. So the topics are like whatever we read on our curriculum, they were mechanics of solids, dynamics, fluid mechanics, thermodynamics, kinematics of machines, something like the design of machine elements, casting, forming, welding, applied thermodynamics. These are some topics which are very much important. Whether like when you go for an online round for any mechanical based companies, you will find that we have to be good with these topics. So what I did, like I targeted I targeted gate PYQ. So what I did, since I was very regular with my classes all the time. There were professors who didn't teach well. There were many professors who taught really very well. So first I went to the way in which they taught. I had my notes, I had my slides. So I went on studying that, and wherever I felt that I need for this particular topic, I have to look on some other resources. Then generally I went to some GATE lectures like Unacademy or Philswala, whatever you have. Those who are GATE oriented lectures, I went on that and studied and followed those lectures, and then went to do the GATE PYQ. And similarly, when I found that in this GATE PYQ, these are some concepts which I don't know, then I went and studied those topics. So this is this is the process which I followed, and I started my preparation after my sixth semester. I usually used to give 2 hours consistently every day, so that I think was sufficient for me. But those guys who are currently those who are BTech guys, I think they didn't study topics like design of machine elements, kinematics of machines. They will not they just completed their four semester, I guess. So you need to study those topics. Maybe you can better that you can follow some GATE lectures. But the guys who are done with their sixth semester, I think you guys have already covered everything. And if you are regular with classes, then you can visit your professor's slides or notes if you have made. Otherwise, you can always go for GATE lectures. And now something special about some other companies, like for example, if you consider GLR, they want you to be good with basics of powertrains, engine, SI engines, four-cylinder engines, cooling system in the engine. These are some topics that they will drill on, and if you're not knowing those topics, then this is not going to be something like JLR wants someone who is good with automotives. So this is not the case with Bajaj. I was not asked any automotives question. They just drilled me on my CV. They asked me some good mechanical questions. Like I said that they asked me on thermodynamics and mechanics of solids. They were good questions, but no automotive question. So if you are targeting JLR, then you really need to be good at powertrain and these kind of things. And where you can prepare with, like I think I didn't prepare on those lines. Like I didn't touch the automotive sector. Uh, I just tried to prepare on GATE PYQs only. But if you want, then my friends like those who prepared, I think you can follow some NPTEL lectures on that, or maybe you can approach those guys who gave the interviews of JLR. So that I think will help all of you.
Okay, Adrika, what's your answer for this? Is it the same, or would you like to add anything else?
I believe that, uh, no, no, actually, I believe that I covered the timeline also as well in the answer to my last question.
Okay,
So I started after like during the summer vacations only. Yeah, exams. So yeah.
okay, that's good. Soumyadeep, I think you also covered the same thing in your previous answer.
Yeah. Same. I covered this. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Okay, moving on. Now, how important are projects and practical works like workshops, training program, or internships for core profile? Can you share your experience with projects? So, Aditya, would you like to start?
Definitely. Uh, After my third year, I went to Reliance at Jamnagar, and that's an oil and based company. And again, I my project was completely related to mechanical engineering stuffs only. So that project, I would say, was very important because the experience that I gained, and since Reliance is a good company, branded company, so having those points on my CV that I had an experience in Reliance Industries Limited, that was definitely uh, helped me a lot. Like I think that was something which I was having something different from other other students who were preparing for the same role. Also, if you are having some projects, like many people do their projects and with some professor in our department. So whatever the projects you are doing, always try to present it in your CV. Always try to present it in such a way that it looks like it can have some practical applications as well. Because when you come for mechanical engineering companies, they want some guy, they want someone who wants to build their career in the domain of mechanical engineering. Like they want to join some industry and they want to devote their entire professional life in that kind of industries only. So for them, if you show them that you have some hands-on experience, something practical knowledge you have, so that is going to be very helpful. And like both for JLR and Bajaj, I'll say, if you're having some core internship in some industry, that is going to be really helpful. If you're in Team Card, again, that is going to be helpful. If you are having some projects with some professor who pick some industrial problems, then again, that is going to be helpful. But if you are working with some professors whose topics are mostly for like academic research kind of problem statement, like more inclined towards physics or something like that. Uh, no worries, but you can always present those things in such a way that it looks like the industrial one. So it depends on you how you present, but always try, like especially for those guys who are dual degree student and studying for the CDC, I mean, you should always try to have some core internship with you, some practical experience in some industry. I know many of my friends, they when I was in my third year, I was doing my internship at Reliance. I know that time I knew few of my friends, like they did their internship at some PSUs like ONGC and DRDO and IOCL, I guess. So they didn't pay any stipend, but if you're having some like experience in those companies and you will be writing CV, then definitely that helps a lot because those practical experiences matters a lot, and they even matter more than a CGPA. If you're, by the way, if you're having some low CGPA like less than 8, but you're very good with some core internships, some practical experience, then that is going to be, I mean, that can compensate for that very well. So yeah, that's I would say. And like in a single line, I'll say the practical work for the mechanical role companies that matters a lot.
Okay, thank you so much, Adit. Uh, Adrika, what specific points or projects on your resume do you think attracted the recruiter's attention?
So I had done a lot of projects in like electronics core, but those were mainly for me to, understand how the industry works or like what all topics or fields are there in electronics itself. Because it's a very vast subject. Like we have just one department for it, but when you actually go into the industry, there are so many things, so many different fields available within this. So that is why I just wanted to get an experience with respect to like this particular field. That is why I've done a lot of projects. But as I said, Google did not have a HR round, so they didn't. I don't think they looked at my CV that much. They mainly wanted to like judge the fundamental knowledge, but it still goes with the projects that I had done. So I was in AGV, and apart from that, at the end of my first year, I had given selections for ARK, AGV. So there were selection tasks for each of these. So those tasks were pretty helpful for me to get a basic understanding or like get started with respect to the field.
Okay, thank you so much, Adrika. So, Amnadeep,
Another
how
project that
did,
I had. Okay, okay.
if you wanted to add something, then you can.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
regarding
So
is that if someone is wanting to go into core, then like in my case, I had decided from my second year itself that I would go into core. I was a dual degree student from the beginning only, so I don't means there was no option or there was no scene of converting into dual degree. So I already knew that I am going to I was going to sit for CDC interns after my third year. So I sort of approximated that I have 3 semesters in my hand. So uh, though I did not do projects with an intention of clearing CDP, those were purely based out of I like doing that. That's why. So like first of all, I was interested in the EV sector. That's why I wanted to explore. So I took up a project in my department which was based on uh, a renewable energy based charger for lithium ion batteries for the new generation three-wheeled vehicles. So, but that project, when I took up, I was just learning the basics of how to start working on it. What models do I need to know before going into the real domain? Then, while studying those things, I found it very insightful. I found it very interesting. So, I started taking the project very seriously. And after doing the project for around 6 months, I realized that I am liking the overall renewable energy domain. So, I took up another project at ATDC. It was also based on a charger type of thing, but that was more into low power electronics. So I also took up that, and I gradually grew interest in that. So I would suggest that if anyone is taking up a project, the moment you get into the real working of the project, finish it and then leave the project. Don't leave it in midway just because you have got the LOR or certification from the top. Because that will just boost your CV. It will help you maybe secure an internship or may not. But if you complete the project, it will always boost and confidence within you, those who are going into core, that you are equipped, you match the level, you belong to this level where you can develop your own product. Okay, because that's very important in core corporate, which I have seen after being 3 or 4 weeks now, currently now in JLR, that people have a lot of confidence in the field of hardware development. That's very important because there are a lot of non-idealities which come in the core profile, and you need to have that type of mindset, that type of attitude to tackle that. And obviously, if you do a project for a long time and you get some meaningful results, you'll obviously get some kind of conference or publication, journal publication or conference publication, which a lot of my friends had from their projects because they did it for a long time. So, and when they see a project in your profile, they will, for sure, they are going to grill you on that. Now, when they are asking you some questions on the projects, they will get to know that how seriously, how far, how deeply have you approached the project, how deeply have you worked on that, and if you are faking something or not. So in that case, I would suggest that projects obviously have an extra impact in case of dual degree students. When dual degree students sit for internships, I would say that the interviewers, the companies, they expect you to have projects on your profile. So if you don't have, obviously you will have a disadvantage despite having a high CV. So because as Aditya mentioned a lot of times previously that JLR doesn't look into CV a lot. Okay, so they just look whether you are clearing the CGPA cutoff for written test. Once you are into the interview, they don't look into your CV. Because I had a CV which was less than 8 in my CBC intern season. But believe me, I was not asked even a single question about my CV throughout my interview. So I expected that I will be grilled on that. So I would suggest that do projects, do meaningful projects properly for a long time with some productive results. Even if you are doing one project for that, do that with proper focus, with proper dedication, so that you get some results out of there and you will show that this is something which I have done during my UG days, during my undergraduate days, because this population is very less who go into such research projects so early. Okay, so obviously projects have greater impact, but mostly on the dual degree students who are appearing for it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Soumnadi.
Also, I'd like to ask all three of you, do you have any friends who are actually, pursuing core and have decided to, serve the nation in terms of like going to the army and being in the technical side of things? Do you have any friends? Would any of you like to answer?
So we have friends not going into army actually, but I have friends who have minded towards ISRO or DRDO. So yeah, that kind of friends we have, but not necessarily into army. Now, no. Going into army, I don't have any. But those who want to contribute in the field of core towards, but I would suggest means after being in core for maybe it's a short period of time obviously for being in core for last 2 years, 2.5 years. I would suggest the best part about serving the country in terms of core profile. I would suggest that you go into the teaching line, okay? Because once you are into an IT, you have graduated from IT, you will if you become a prof in future, you will obviously take up some tier one college only. So a tier one college is great source of funding in terms of projects. Each department has an ample amount of funding in the field of research, sponsored research. So in that case, I would suggest that those profs are also serving the country very silently. They don't get recognized a lot, but I would suggest that's a better option because uh, you cannot do something application specific from the beginning only. You have to test that. You have to explore a lot of domains. You will make a lot of mistakes, and then you will realize which is specific for which kind of application, whether it is for the defense or whether it is for something other in the field of pollution or something else. So in that case, so I would suggest that so this is my view, obviously, that going into the teaching line in the field of core engineering is better to serve.
Okay. Thank you, Samudeep. Uh, let's move on to the next question. In this question, I'd like all of you to target two domains. One is semester away internship programs, and other is the research side of uh, the core profiles. So, Adrika, would you like to start with that?
Yeah, sure. All right. So, I'll start with the research side. So for me, initially when I started out at IIT Kharagpur, I actually wanted to do, pursue higher studies like MS and all directly after college. And I was like still very much interested in, um, research work with respect to like EC core because a lot of people might not feel the same way, but research in EC core is a lot different from like working in a corporate job. Corporate and research are two completely different things. So choosing whether you want to go into research or corporate actually I think comes from experience itself. Like I have a lot of friends in EC itself or electrical who want to pursue research. I don't have a lot of friends who have like applied for semester based internship program. Even I was not, that much aware of it when I had started preparing and when I had decided that I wanted to go into core. So the decision for research versus like corporate comes from like your experience with both of these fields. Like for me particularly, I had joined AGV for the same purpose that I wanted to, explore the field of research as well. So after that, after exploring that and after actually doing some corporate internships, I realized that I, want to get some work ex before diving into that field. But saying this, I believe that that is a research is like a very big it is very important for someone who's targeting a core field because even when you go into the industry or for example when I'm working at Google I see a lot of people have done higher studies or actually have delved deep into the subject have a edge over the people who have not. So that is pretty much it about this question from my side. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Adrika. Aditya, would you like to answer?
Yeah. So I also when I switched from software to core domain, in my fifth semester, I decided that I will be going for high studies in my like basically going for a PhD just after my college. Then for that, I emailed many professors from my department for projects. Uh, then I started working under Professor Rajaram Lakkaraju, who works mainly on some academic projects like physics-based projects. So uh, I typically got the experience like after working with him. With, I think for past 1 year or 1.5 years, I'm working with him. I gained experience like how exactly PhD works because I meet many PhD students, many MTech students also there who works with him. So I got to know like what exactly the life of a PhD student is and what kind of problem statements generally they target. And when I went to Reliance, I got I got good corporate experience there. And after exploring both of them, I felt that corporate is something which is good for me. And also, when you see research, actually, there are two types of research, like industrial research and some academic research. But what here we are doing at Bajaj, like that is a typical industrial research that I will say, like picking up the problem, whatever the problem we are currently having in the industry, picking up that problem and doing some R&D and trying to troubleshoot it, trying to optimize the things. And so that is how research is done in industry. In PhD, you work for like in industry, you don't work for 5 or 6 hours, like, 5 years, 6 years, like what one does in PhD. But in but when you will go for some universities for PhDs, you need to work a lot on that problem problem statement that you have written. So for my case, I feel that being in a corporate, but more on the industrial research side, that actually suits me well. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Aditya. There is one follow-up question for Somideep. Uh, can you tell us how important a research internship is? Like, how do you approach the professor in terms of your core department? Because obviously, outside the institute, it is fine. Can you explain on this part, Somideep?
Which I would suggest, which what would I focus on? Inside the institute or outside?
You can give both of the answers.
Okay, so as far as our institute is concerned, and if I talk specifically about my department, professors are quite approachable. Means they are mostly bad with responding to mails. Okay, they are mostly bad with communications via mail. So in that case, I would suggest that just going to them directly and talk to them about taking the project. Most of them assign you with a project from the fourth semester. They wouldn't give you a project in the third semester because you are just learning the subjects at that point of time. You just find out, or with after studying maybe analog, digital, you'll get to know that what kind of areas you are getting interested. You find from the website which prof is working on that particular area. You just directly approach that prof, and if you have certain communication problems, or if you are not confident enough that whether you should approach it directly or not, just have a conversation with your faculty advisor. He or she will help you out. So in that case, I would suggest that talk to the prof directly and secure a project. Mail first. Hopefully, you will not get a reply within 3 or 4 days because a lot of mails come to them. So you may not see it. But as it is in your department, they are very approachable. So and take the project seriously. Only approach the prof if you think that you can dedicate 3 or 4 months at least for the project. Okay? Because otherwise, you would not learn anything. And as far as the out of the institute is concerned, uh, first of all, there's a shortlisting method that which profs you want to mail. Like I mostly mailed in the field of power electronics. The thing which happened with me was uh, I was actually referred by a prof from UOT Dallas, so Texas University at Dallas, in the field of power electronics. who had one of his colleagues who was also an assistant prof at IIT Bombay. They were working on the same project, and he at that point of time did not have any current opening, and he was not in a position to sustain or fund that project. So he was a co-guide in the project. So I got referred from there to IIT Bombay. So in that case, the foreign application process, if you are going through any kind of program, then it's fine. But the intake person, though dad and my tests are no more functional for Indian students. So in that case, there are other research programs in Caltech University and Arizona State University in NUS Singapore, and the cold mailing always helps. But I would suggest that the easiest and the trickiest way of cold mailing is maybe you are doing some project in your college, and then you got to study some research papers. You are studying some research papers, and you are doing the project, and suddenly you realize that the authors of those research papers are profs from some renowned universities in abroad. You can mail them, and when you mail them citing that you have read their research papers and worked on the same domain, they will take that into notice, and your application will obviously have a strong stand. So, because I've seen my friends doing that, even I have one of my friends who is currently interning at TU Delft, Netherlands, working on wireless power transfer, an emerging topic. So, in that case, I would suggest these are the mostly insights required for cold mailing.
Okay. Thank you, Somadeep,
I
for that.
would like to add one thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
sure.
I, I would just like to say that whatever you feel that this particular domain can be good for me, just go and explore. For example, if you're feeling like for me research can be a good option, then do mail the professors of our department. Uh, do go to them and meet them and try to explore the things. So if you feel like you want to, industry can be good for you. You should try searching some industry related. I mean, try and go to those industries. Mail your alumni who are in those industries. Try getting some referrals. If you feel like you want to go for something not from your department, going for coding, then do ask your seniors. Do some, like for example, if you want to go for software, you should try doing some competitive programming and these kind of things. Then you make a judgment. Yeah, for me, this particular things can be good. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you all of you for this nice advice. Okay. Now let's move on to one of the final questions. So, this is one of the most awaiting questions for the audience. Uh, each of you give me a maximum of 3 points of advice, pinpoints of what you did wrong and what you could have done better during your internship process. Let's start with Adarka.
Okay, all right. So initially, like I believe Somadeep had pointed this out in like one of his answers that you're supposed to note everything down as progress with your preparation. So initially, when I started with my preparation, I was not very systematic about how I'm going forward with the resources and like what all resources I've done. I did not do proper documentation about like what all I've covered and what all I've not covered. So that is one thing which is like very important. Whenever you go through something, just make an Excel sheet or Google sheet or like even a document, keeping a track of what all topics you've covered, and also how confident you are in those topics. Because sometimes there might be a few topics which you don't get in the first go. So keep that in check. That maybe after a few days I'll come back to that topic, read through it, and understand it better. So that was one thing that I should have done better. The the second thing was that for me, I personally got lucky because Google actually gave me an option of like which questions I wanted to answer, like digital or analog. I believe that I should have divided my time a bit better, like because digital electronics is something that we have just done in the fourth semester of second year. I pretty much, everyone remembers it. It's like fresh in your mind. So you can maybe give more time to analog electronics because as it is, the companies that come for core, there are very few. So it's better if you have a wider range of options to choose from. And third thing was that I guess I should have practiced or read through computer architecture a bit more, because looking forward into some of the interviews and questions, they actually focus on it a lot. So yeah, that is pretty much it from my side.
Thank you, Adrika. Aditya, would you like to go next?
Yeah. So, since I had two experiences sitting in CDC, when I was in my second year, and after that I sat for CDC, I felt that many of my friends, they they didn't put much efforts in building their CV, and they also didn't review their CV by their seniors. So that you should not do. Particularly for mechanical core, when you will go for interviews, you will see that your CV is the most important thing. Most of the companies of mechanical core, they are going to grill you on your CV. So you should always try to put good amount of time on building your CV, trying to explain the your all the points which you mentioned in your CV. There must be something like what an industry person who's interviewing you wants from you. You should be projecting whatever works you do in a way that it is like a practical experience for in the mechanical domain. Also, you should get your CVs reviewed by your seniors, because they know what what requires to be improved in a CV. And also one another point I'll say that in my uh, after my second year when I sat for CBC, you should at least make two CVs. What I feel, like even if you are going for something not from your department, that's fine. But you should make a backup CV for you, because if you just go with one CV, then it makes you highly constrained. So making a backup CV will always help you. What I feel. And yeah, these are some mistakes that one can avoid. And what I did good, I think what I'll recommend that whatever you are studying, like Abdika mentioned, that we should always keep a track of all those things. You should be consistent with your efforts. In my case, I think every day from Monday to Friday when I was at Reliance and I was also preparing for CD's internships. I think I gave at least 2 hours every day for mechanical code, solving some gate PYQs. And on Saturday, Sunday, I put some more extra efforts, some 3, 4 hours. So consistency is important, and making make your CV good, get it reviewed, and I think yeah, that's from my side.
I have a follow-up question for to one of your points. You said that you could make two CVs. I have a question uh, is it like you can get to upload only one CV and is there is no other option of uploading another one, or does it change? Can you change it in the
Thing is,
process?
when the company comes on ERP, you have to apply. You can apply, like if you are 3 CVs, then you can apply with any of your CVs. For example, if I'm preparing for software role, then and my first CV is related to software, then I'll apply with software. And if I'm thinking like let's apply for some core companies also, and my CV two is something related to code, then I'll apply with CV two. That's how it works.
Okay, so that flexibility is there. Okay, thank you, thank you. Then Soumyadip, what about you? Your 3 points? Hello, Soumyadip?
Uh, yeah, yeah. Uh, my 3 points would be first would be obviously CG. Again, take your CG seriously. Don't do the blunder which I have done. And next is uh, next is I would suggest that uh, divide your work properly, because I almost faced a situation that I had divided work previously that I would prepare this much for this amount of time, some other subject for this amount of time, but it got messed up in the end because I ended up tripping on few of my weekends at Bombay. And then the third, I would say that yeah, the internship for dual students, basically this one, the internship which you are doing during that summer, take that seriously, okay? Because I have seen a lot of people that going to the office or going to the lab for the internship and preparing for CDC there. Don't do this mistake, because in that case, neither of the things will happen properly. So these 3 points I would like to add. Nothing more than that. All of the things which I wanted to share I have covered.
I would like to say one more point. Uh, just uh, I want to say that I was having two options. Like I sat for CDC 2 times. Uh, I think in my first CDC, I didn't get any. I got one shortlist. Although I was preparing for core, but I got shortlisted in Tata Steel, which is a core company for mechanical, but didn't get any offer till my last day of CDC. I got my Reliance offer because that was an off campus. I applied on non-stop, and from there I got it. And the same me got the offer on day 2 of the CDC next year. So there are several other factors. There are several factors which are working. I mean, one factor is if you are a dual degree student, then you have to accept that there is some biasness between a BTech guy and a dual degree guy. Because let's say you are preparing for mechanical core, the guy who he's in his third year completed, and a guy who's a BTech guy in his second year completed. Many of the courses he didn't study, but the online round of Bajaj will not say that this is for a dual degree and this is for a BTech guy. There is some biases. If you're a dual degree student, then you must be having some better core experiences, industrial experience. So that is one factor. Second is everybody will agree that there is some luck factor which always plays a role. So that is something which is important. Also, it depends on the whether there's recession or not, because previous to previous CDC, there was that was my first CDC. There was a big recession going on. So that is something which also I will put this in a luck factor kind of thing. So don't judge yourself on the basis of CDC. There are many other options. I'll say if you are for a mechanical core, then always have your eye on some websites like Unstop or something where some off-campus companies actually put their test and they hire directly from there. Also, even if you're not interested in research, not planning for higher studies, for like fully funded PhD kind of things, you should always try for some scholarship-based research interns, like foreign and Indian both, so that you can have something in your hand. If you are if you got nothing from CDC, then you can always have some kind of research intern, which is better than having nothing. So always, I mean, try to explore different things, uh, try to be positive always, and try to uh, do your best. That's what I would say.
That's really insightful from all three of you. I really think the audience would have benefited from it. Let's move on to the next question.
Okay. Now, last question is, which skills do you think will become more valuable for core roles in next 2 to 3 years? So, Aditya, would you like to go first?
Can you repeat that?
Like, what skills do you think will become valuable for core roles in next 2 to 3 years?
Uh, this is for me. Like, what skills? I mean, if I'll say about me, then
Yes, specific to your company in which you are working
definitely.
currently.
Like I'm working at Bajaj, and here I'm working on engine cooling systems. So we are typically doing some industrial R&D, and for my problem statement here, I'm trying to optimize the radiator of the bikes so that we can have a compact design for that. For that, I'm doing some CFD related work. So for my case, the CFD, computational fluid dynamics, I learned while working under my professor. I think that helped me a lot. So if you're having some skills like working on some softwares like OpenFOAM, which is a CFD tool of Ansys, or some CAD softwares that is going to be helpful in your company which you will be working. So that I think is important.
Okay, Adrika, do you think some skills which will be very much helpful?
in the next 2 3 years. Yeah, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
see, we're pretty much aware of the AI revolution coming up. I'll briefly explain like 4 or 5 teams my company has, and in fact, any hardware company has. One is physical design, second is design verification, third is validation, fourth is simulation, and fifth is DFT. DFT is a team which comes, after a chip is made and the testing that is to be done after that. Now, my company itself has made some AIs, which generate these test benches for design verification and DFT. So I believe that you need to have that skill to stay at par with AI. Think out of the box, think something that a AI would not. Because all of these things which were so streamlined, like creating a test bench, testing out for a chip and all, now all of these things can be done by an AI. So where you can stand out in my company, like any of the hardware companies in the next few years, is if you can create, or if you can think of out of the box of like design or RTL design or like computer architecture, like something in that sort, like in the design part. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Adrika. Somidi, what do you think?
As far, but most of these insights I would give after I've done two of my internships on the in the field of power electronics, in the field of electric vehicles. It suggests that there are a lot of new tools which are coming for various specific applications. Like there's a company named ST Microelectronics. They mostly manufacture high power, high performance microcontrollers, mostly concentrated for EV systems, battery management systems, and all that. They the microcontrollers are very specific for those purposes. So they have designed some tools like EDSIM, STMQID, which are used for coding these microcontrollers. Having knowledge of these coding languages always gives you an edge in industry, because I learned this coding this microcontroller in my first AV project which I did at college. So, and there are many application specific simulation softwares which are mostly used for these uh, EV sector projects like PSIM, Flex. Obviously, MATLAB Simulink and LT-Spice is always a basic skill, but there are many application-specific softwares which are available in our college licenses. You can learn them, and even what I am seeing that whenever any electrical component or any electrical subsystem is being designed in a vehicle, after finalizing what all components will be used, the first and foremost thing which is done is the thermal modeling of that subsystem. Even I've seen electrical engineers doing that. I have been also assigned a task based on this, though I cannot disclose the details right now. But that thermal modeling of electrical components is a very important skill currently trending in the industry. And if I focus on the semiconductor industry, then obviously Verilog, system Verilog, these are also used for now digital assisted analog design, which is currently the focus of ST Microelectronics in the financial year 2025 to 2026. They've also joined hands with Qualcomm to develop MEMS-based sensors using this digitally assisted analog design. So people can look into these technologies, that how to work on them, how to develop some real life components, some application specific components based on simple concepts. So these, I think that these skills are quite trending in the industry right now and can help students be secured in the jobs, be matched with the skill level that is required in the current industry.
Okay, thank you so much, Somidi. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
panelists, for these valuable insights. Now we'll open the floor for audience questions. Audience, whatever queries you have, you can drop it in the chat box. We'll be waiting for 30 seconds for if you have any queries, then you can drop it in the chat box. Oh, okay. I think that it's pretty much clear to everyone. There's no queries in the chat. So
Yeah.
let's move on.
All right, all three of you. That brings us to the end of a very enriching session. A huge thank you to all of you, our panelists, for sharing your time, your experience, and advice. I am sure this took a huge chunk of your time, and your insights, your guiding will motivate juniors to crack their dream and core internships. Janta, before we end the seminar, there is an important announcement. Tomorrow, we will be having a panel discussion for the product profile. So let's meet again tomorrow to gain fun day about the product profile. Thank you, Janta. See you all.
Okay, we have just one thing at the end about Prepnest. So Prepnest is a platform for built for internship and placement. Prepnest has four features like AI resume review, interviews, and resource hub and mentorship. So you can sign up and upscale your CV through this app. So I would like all of you to give a try. Okay, that's end of the session. And that thank you audience and panelists for the time and patience. Thank you everyone and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.